The Tomorrow Series, Episode 7. What choice is tomorrow waiting for you to make? Reflections of Mosy Kan. What choice is tomorrow waiting for you to make? Not tomorrow today. Tomorrow the possibility. Tomorrow the version of reality that does not yet exist. The tomorrow that is still unfinished. Because every future that has ever existed began as a choice, a small one, a forgotten one, a choice so ordinary that nobody noticed it at the time. And yet entire lives have turned because of a single decision. A conversation started, a conversation avoided, a door opened, a door left closed, a truth spoken, a truth hidden. History is filled with moments that looked insignificant while they were happening. Only later did people realize that was the moment everything changed. Human beings are fascinated by dramatic choices. We imagine crossroads, life-changing moments, grand declarations, the moment where everything becomes clear. But reality is often quieter. The most important choices rarely announce themselves. They arrive disguised as ordinary moments. A habit you repeat, a phone call you ignore, a risk you refuse, a question you decide not to ask, a truth you choose not to face. The future is rarely built through a single dramatic event. More often, it is constructed through thousands of invisible decisions, brick by brick, day after day, choice after choice, until one day you wake up inside the life you unknowingly built. There is something remarkable about the future. It cannot force anything. Tomorrow has no hands, no voice, no authority. It cannot drag you toward itself. It can only wait, patiently, silently, while possibilities remain open. Imagine standing before 100 doors. Every door leads somewhere. Every door closes something else. Tomorrow knows what lies behind those doors, but tomorrow cannot choose for you. Only you can do that. And perhaps that's why choice feels so heavy. Because freedom and responsibility are the same thing viewed from different directions. Freedom means you can choose. Responsibility means the consequences belong to you. There is a strange misunderstanding many people have. They believe not choosing is somehow safer. If I wait longer, if I postpone, if I delay, if I avoid the decision, then perhaps I avoid the consequences. But avoidance is also a choice. Silence is a choice. Waiting is a choice. Indecision creates futures that just as effectively as action. The person who never chooses a direction still travels. The current carries them somewhere. The years continue moving. Life continues unfolding. And eventually they arrive somewhere they never intended to go. Not because they chose wrongly, but because they refused to choose at all. Perhaps the most fascinating idea is this. Multiple tomorrows may already exist as possibilities. Not literally, but structurally. Potential futures, potential lives, potential versions of yourself. Each one waiting, the disciplined future, the fearful future, the courageous future, the comfortable future, the meaningful future, the stagnant future. All of them exist as possibilities, and every choice becomes a vote. A vote for one future instead of another. A vote for one version of yourself over countless alternatives. You may not notice the vote, but tomorrow counts it. Every single time. Most people think choices are about outcomes. Will this make me successful? Will this make me happy? Will this protect me? Will this benefit me? But perhaps those are secondary questions. Perhaps every choice asks something deeper. Who are you becoming? Because choices do not merely create futures. They create identities. Every decision slowly teaches you who you are, or who you are becoming. The future is not only shaped by your choices, you are shaped by them as well. And that transformation often happens invisibly, like erosion shaping stone, slowly, quietly, until one day the shape is completely different. Why are choices difficult? Because every choice contains uncertainty. No matter how much information you gather, no matter how carefully, you think the future remains partly hidden, and human beings dislike uncertainty. We want guarantees, we want certainty, we want proof, we want to know exactly what happens next. But life has never offered such certainty. Every meaningful choice requires stepping into the unknown, not because ignorance is desirable, but because complete certainty is impossible. At some point, every person reaches a threshold where knowledge ends and trust begins. Not trust in the outcome, trust in their ability to face whatever outcome arrives. Imagine tomorrow observing you right now. What will it notice? Not your plans, not your intentions, not your promises, your actions, your repetitions, your patterns. Because tomorrow understands something today's emotions often forget. The future is not built from what you intend. It is built from what you repeatedly do. Intentions are possibilities. Actions are construction. Tomorrow watches construction. Not imagination. Not potential. Construction. Brick after brick. Choice after choice. Day after day. People often search for revolutionary decisions. The massive breakthrough. The dramatic transformation. The single moment that changes everything. Yet history repeatedly suggests something else. Small choices compound. Tiny decisions accumulate. A slight change in direction today becomes a completely different destination years later. A 1-degree adjustment seems insignificant until enough distance passes. Then the difference becomes enormous. Perhaps the future waiting for you is not demanding a dramatic leap. Perhaps it is waiting for a small adjustment, a conversation, a habit, a commitment, a truth, a beginning. Something so small that today barely notices it. But tomorrow recognizes its importance immediately. Its importance. Maybe that is the wrong question. Perhaps tomorrow is not waiting for a specific choice. Perhaps tomorrow is waiting for you to become the kind of person who can make it. Because some decisions require preparation, growth, understanding, patience, courage. And perhaps the journey itself is part of the answer. Not merely arriving at the decision, but becoming capable of making it. Maybe the future is less interested in what you choose, and more interested in who chooses. Imagine standing before a single door. You cannot see what lies behind it. You cannot know everything. You cannot eliminate uncertainty. You cannot guarantee success. You cannot guarantee safety. The only thing you know is this. The door will not remain open forever. Some possibilities expire. Some opportunities disappear. Some futures eventually stop waiting. And so there comes a moment when thinking ends. Analysis ends. Preparation ends. And choice begins. Not because certainty arrived, but because waiting longer would become its own decision. So perhaps the question is not what choice is tomorrow waiting for you to make. Perhaps the deeper question is what future is waiting behind the choice you already know you must make. And if tomorrow could speak, perhaps it would not tell you which door to choose. Perhaps it would simply remind you that every future begins exactly the same way, with a choice, a small one, a quiet one, a choice that today barely notices, but tomorrow will never forget. The Tomorrow Series, Episode 7. Every future begins with a choice.